Hey, what's going on, everybody? Back here with another video. So I don't know if you guys watched in my last video. I changed out my air supply release, my brake release valve here, and I was a little bummed out. You could probably tell in the video because I did fix the air leak from the green portion on there that was leaking air, only to discover that that was just one of two air leaks. I was getting really tired of, starting my truck and having to hear the hissing noise. I figured it was all just coming from the same place, but that was negative. So, anyways, I got that all switched out. I don't hear any leaks coming from there, but I do have a leak coming from this. Now, this runs in the dash, kind of way up in there. Got to take this dash apart. You can see it's got several air lines that go to this, and this is called the air manifold for the in-dash. The in-dash air manifold here. And yours will look something like this. This is just an extra fitting because some of the older trucks, they need two holes up here instead of one. And this is $1.88 extra. So if you need that, just get this fitting here and plug in your lines there and split that off. But if not, then you're not going to need the fitting. It's just going to be as is. All these spots are where different air sensors go in, and then you're going to have 3 bolts bolting this into the wall there, and then all your air lines going to have to be replaced. Well, not replaced, but you know what I mean. You got to put them back. So, anyways, there's that. This was about 140 bucks from Freightliner here in Texas, and so I mean it is what it is, A little disappointed because I just purchased this, and that was close to 300 bucks, and I got rid of half my problem, but now I got to get rid of the other half, which is again, for some reason, my green. Green is just not my color with my truck. I don't know what it is, but anyways, so I'm gonna take apart the dash. I'm gonna get the old one out, and then I'm gonna take the sensors out of the old one, and put them one at a time so I make sure that they go in the correct location. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking the dash apart, kind of show you what that looks like in there. I'm sure if you watched my other video, you already know pretty much how the dash goes apart. It's mostly just some screws, some plastic pieces. Take your time, try not to break anything. So I'm going to go ahead and take the dash apart to where I can see this, and then I'll show you from there what we need to do to get into taking this out. So here's where I'm at so far. It looks like I did a lot. I really didn't. I just took this plastic trim off, or it looks like a wood grain. Yours may have 1 or 2 screws. Mine was partially broken, so it only has 1 screw. And then I had a screw here, 1 here, 1 here, and you're supposed to have another one here, but mine is also broken. It is almost ready to come out. Sorry about that. It's almost ready to come out. But you got 2 more screws behind your little trash bin here. You may have a few more if your dash is more assembled than mine, but for the most part, it should be pretty much like this. Now, those 2 screws are hidden back here. Don't yank on this plastic bin if you still happen to have yours. You might break it because it's plastic, obviously. If you reach your hand in there, there's a clip, and you just push up on it, and it'll drop your waste bin out. Okay? So get that aside there. Alright, just get it out of the way. Now, we're only got 2 more screws in the way, and this piece will come out of the way, and you can see the air valve in there with all the lines running to it. So, we're pretty much there, alright? Now, if you look in here, see if I can get these 2 screws. They're hard to see. Let me get my light on here. Alright. Those 2 screws there, just get those out. This should get right out of your way, and then we can start getting down to the good stuff, all right? You're also going to need to disconnect your cigarette lighter. Just those 2 plugs, just unplug them. Just try not to forget where they went. And we'll get in here and start changing this manifold valve up. And hopefully it will be silent in here once again. I miss my truck being silent. I drive so much, and I'm so sick and tired of listening to that little hissy noise. So, yeah, so let's get into it. I'm excited to get this done and finally have a quiet cab again. So let's do it. So I got those little 2 screws out. You can see I got pretty much everything out of my way now. So here it is. Here's the old one. Still looks relatively new. I mean, it looks good. It looks like someone's changed this before, but they are plastic, so I mean, we're going to go ahead and put the new one in anyways, because my problem is with the green valve over there. I did trim that line, and no matter what I do, plug it in, plug it out, it is just leaking like a monster. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that there's nothing I can do from there. I mean, I really have been messing with it, trying to get it to seal off, but since it's really refusing to work with me, I'm just going to go ahead and unbolt this out of there. It's got 2 bolts in the bottom and like that one little weird middle one near the top. Let's see if I can find the other one. All these wires and everything are covering everything up. But the other bolt is in there. But there are 3, so you got 2 down here, and then you got this one over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to unbolt it. Now you got all these sensors here that screw in, so just be very careful, and I mean, remember which ones go where, because they are all different. So I don't know, mark it off however you think is easier for you. Do your best. You can bring your new one in here, start moving your lines right over to it. I would recommend as soon as you get one of these off to put it on your new one so it's for sure in the right spot. But you can see all the plugs, all the electrical that goes into them, they're all gray. So if you mix those up, you're going to have a real hard time with that. So for sure, definitely mark those off, plug them immediately up. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go do that now and see how this works out. So if I come across anything I find valuable, I'll let you know. But this is pretty much the gist. We're just transferring all this over and get them out this way. Okay, so here we go. I got these lines out. See the 2 yellows up top, all the ones on the side. Just try not to forget. You know, mark them if you need to. Do whatever you need to do. Just use my phone camera light, see if that's any better. Okay. So, sorry, it got dark, but I'm going to continue this. So, here's the most important piece here. Here's the air valve. The green one was the messed up one. I also need to take this out of this little black one here. I don't know exactly what this is all about, but I'm going to just move it over. I left all these electrical parts last like this so I can do them one at a time and make sure they go in the proper location. So, I mean, if you don't want to do that, you can label them or whatever, but I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to transfer one at a time over to the new one, and that way I won't make a mistake. So, some of these are different sizes. I'm going to just go ahead and get a wrench and be careful with them because these are sensors, you know. These got the metal collars, but this one doesn't, so it looks like it's pretty simple, just hand turn. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and move these over to the new one and pop it back up in there and get all these tight, and then I'm going to do an air leak test and check for noise, and hopefully we will be done with this air noise leak business, and this will fix everything. So I'm going to get started on that and be back soon. Get this way there. Okay. All right. So I got the old one here. I'm working on it steadily. This valve came out of the orange one there. And it's actually like a piece of hose. So this one doesn't actually screw in. You actually have to use like a flathead and hold this down firmly while you gently tug this up and it'll release. So that's how that's going to go in there. And then same goes for this. If you have one of these styles, this actually is going to go in here. Came off of there, so I'm going to just transfer these over to here just like you would a hose. And these other ones, it looks like I'm going to need a wrench to gently screw them out and place them one at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in and start unscrewing these one at a time and putting them in their proper place. I also, on my truck, I transferred this plug. You may have different things in there. Let's see, my old one had a plug in it, so I just moved the plug over. But you may have some sensors in there. You may even have like a splitter in there. It just depends on your truck, but it should be for the most part the same. So I'm going to go ahead, plug those in, and start moving those over, and we'll come back. Okay, so I just got all these put in from the old one there. These are pretty big pain, but I got it. I started out using these, and these were in there pretty good. I mean, I was able to get a few of them that way, but where's that tool at? Here it is. This is what was best, and I should have just used this from the beginning, because you can get on there pretty good with just this one. Doesn't look like it. Well, mine didn't, especially because they were all dirty, but they have little flat ends on the sides, and you can just use this and get them. So this is what I would use for that if I was to do it again. But I got it all together, and what I did for these is I would just pull one of these out, because I was doing them one at a time, and then they would spin off, and it wouldn't really twist up too much. And then I put it on the new one, and then spin it back on, and then, you know, I could place one down, and if for some reason one was tangled, I could undo it, but they would all be back where they belong. So you can do it that way, or you can label them and move them out of your way. But I did it that way, one at a time, because it's just easier, and I know that everything is exactly as it was. So, yeah, that's how I did it. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to screw it back up in here and connect all these lines and start the truck and see if I can hear any noise. And if I do, I got to adjust whatever's making noise. But other than that, hopefully the truck will be quiet again, and this will be the end of that. Okay, because, I mean, this is really the two main things as far as inside the cab, is this manifold valve and the park release, which we already changed that the other day, so this should be it. So I'm going to get this in there and then continue from there. So I got all the lines in. You can see down there, red for red, the small red for red, black for black, orange, orange, green, green, yellow, yellow. All the sensors, the small green in there, the two top yellows. I did notice this right top yellow was black, and maybe it's the same for you, maybe it was changed before, I don't know. Green for green, and where that silver is, I have a plug in there. That's how it was. So that's what I got there. Red, there's a thick black one there. Let me see if I can, it's right here, and it's kind of hidden by the sensor, but that's in, and it goes color for color, and then red for red here. So it's all hooked in, all the sensors are in. The 3 screws are in there enough to hold it, but they're not tight because, you know, while you're adjusting stuff, you don't want to tighten those down just yet. So if you have to make arrangements to make adjustments, it won't be so bad. Something else I did is I zip tied this harness out of the way so it wouldn't just drop right in front of what I was doing. And if everything's good, I might even tidy this up a little and kind of get it out of the way along with this and clean it up. So I'm going to go ahead and start the truck and listen for air, and then I'll be back. Okay, so there it is. The park and brake was changed in the first video, and then we got this air manifold changed. You guys hear that? Silence. The sound of silence. Thank God. That was driving me nuts. So, the problem is solved. The first thing I noticed when I turned it on, it was hissing. I came back, and it was just this green line on this side wasn't pushed in all the way. So that's why I was telling you don't tighten the bolts down yet, because you'll probably need to make an adjustment on a line or two. But everything's good. It's nice and silent now. Not losing any air pressure. I think it's good. So I'm going to tighten those 3 bolts down now that I'm confident. I'm going to probably go in here with some electric tape and some zip ties and make it look all pretty in here. You don't have to do that. You can just leave it in there. Nobody's going to see it. But I like to do stuff like that since I'm already in here anyways. So I'm going to do that. Put the dash back together. And do one final test. But I think it is all done. So I got my zip ties all put around. Decided against electric tape. I was thinking about it. But just in case if I ever in the future have to come back in here, have to undo my electric tape. But on my audio systems, I like to use electric tape because I know I'm not going to have issues with those. But, yep. So that's kind of something similar you could get. I'll probably even find a better spot for this, maybe somewhere up or something. I don't know. But it looks neat. Now all I got to do is just tighten those 3 bolts in, get the dash together, and do one last sound check for noise. But I think it's good. So here we go. Okay, we're all finished up. You can see my air pressure's all built up there. There's no noise. So that's pretty much it. It's done. Cleaned up the wiring in there, got the dash back together. Just a couple of notes here. I was having a hard time getting this cover on, and it was because that little gray bracket that goes over here, I screwed it in this side, and it actually goes to the hole on this side underneath. And this, what looks like a screw hole here, needs to be empty for the bottom of the cup holder to clip in. So just don't forget that. And then also, my lighter jack wasn't working when I got together, and that's only because I popped the 15 amp fuse whenever I unplugged it and plugged it back in, I guess. See there, it's all popped. I knew right away when it didn't start up, that's probably what it was. So all you got to do, if you pop yours, is just push this button here and lift up. And then inside there is your fuses. There's a little plastic cover. It's on my truck, it's number 54. It's a 15 amp. You can use a 10, 15, or probably even a 20. You'd be fine. So just something to note. I normally like to use a 15 if you can get it for those, but I was out, so I just put a 20 in there. So that's it. The leaking is done. The truck is silent. So tomorrow I'm going to do a video over how to change the oil in the oil filters. But for right now, that's it. So if you had a similar issue, hopefully this helped you. But we're done. The war is finally over. So I'm going to put my tools up and call it for a night. So yeah, if you liked the video, just like it, subscribe, all that stuff, all the good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.